or scribbled or thought.
When you choose to share a photo album, you go to Facebook and you choose to put those photos there.
Just kind of opt in on every single thing. Opt in. Opt in. Opt in.
I'm okay with Facebook behaving like a company, but I think we need to treat it like a company and not treat it like some benign public utility.
These are the default settings on Facebook in 2005, divided into 12 categories. As time passes, more and more information is shared by default. In 2009, Facebook began automatically sharing personal information with the entire internet. By 2010, everything was shared by default, except for your contact info and your birthday.
We could, if you did a search and a Gmail and a YouTube and so forth yesterday, and you did it from your home, I'll give you the worst case. You did it from your home, and you only have one computer in your home. In theory, we could cross-correlate those and get all three together. We don't do that, and we're not likely to do that.
But in January of 2012, Google made changes to their privacy policy, and they did just that. Google combined all of the information any of their services had collected about a person and put them into one single profile. What Eric Schmidt had said was the worst-case scenario, Google had actually done.
How can you honestly sit here and tell this committee this is not a growing problem?
A good deal of what I was trying to say is that I don't think there is evidence of a market failure or consumer harm from the legal and legitimate use of personal information in commerce. I don't think there's evidence of it.
There are companies that you've never heard of, like Axiom, that claim to have about 1,500 points of data on the average American citizen. Everything from, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, what kind of dog you have, what your sort of psychological outlook is, and all of that can be used to inform decisions that businesses make about us as well.
These are the types of companies that a potential employer would go to try and run a background check on somebody before they hired them. They are able to connect the fact that you went to site A and then later to site B and then eventually to site C and create this detailed history of what sites you visit online.
They don't put your name in the cookie. They put a unique serial number in the cookie that could then be linked to your name in their database.
I don't know if you've ever seen the picture of the ad network ecosystem that shows all the parties in the ad network ecosystem. It's a bit overwhelming.
The information is valuable to different people for different reasons. What if you buy a lot of alcohol? They might want to raise your premiums because they think you're at risk for alcoholism or something like that.
The company might use it in a way that actually harms you.
For example, in 2008, thousands of people suddenly had their credit limits reduced, seemingly for no reason. While on vacation, one wealthy business owner from Atlanta saw his limit plummet from $10,800 to just $3,800, ruining his vacation. The letter he received said this: "Other customers who've used their card at establishments where you recently shopped have a poor repayment history with American Express." This means companies like Walmart. And in Minneapolis, a father came into a Target, outraged that they were sending his teenage daughter pregnancy coupons that were addressed to her. The man thought the Target was trying to encourage his daughter to get pregnant. As it turned out, thanks to her shopping habits, Target knew that this high schooler was pregnant before her own father did. The father later apologized. And in the Netherlands, data was being used to harm customers in a whole new way. Now, while you're driving and using a GPS, that GPS is sending back signals that tell how fast you're moving. It's really useful for helping us avoid traffic, but that got a little company called TomTom wondering who else might be interested in knowing the speed of traffic. And so in the Netherlands, the data that people were willingly trading to find a faster way home was being sold to the authorities to give those same drivers tickets.
Is the reason we don't have any baseline consumer privacy law because of the FBI? No. That is largely due to lobbying by companies that have built extremely lucrative businesses around these business activities, and don't want to do anything to disrupt that.
Under Facebook's terms and conditions, a user must be 13 or older. Despite this, according to a recent Consumers Report study, an estimated 7.5 million users were younger than 13.
First of all, we don't allow people to have accounts under the age of 13.
And my reaction to that is that's just absolutely indefensible. I mean, it's unbelievable that you would say that.
Well, Senator, I just want to say we really emphatically agree with your points.
They say that Facebook sent an army of lawyers so that the final privacy legislation that emerged in 2011 was watered down significantly in a way that wouldn't affect Facebook's business model.
What did Facebook have to lose?
You know, I really do not understand their logic, and you'd have to ask them about that. But when I analyze an issue like this...
I'd love to ask them about that. They won't talk to me, so...
I'm not surprised.
I don't think the rules of law and regulation necessarily apply when it comes to, you know, interacting with, you know, a company that wants to sell you something.
Yeah, we should be worried.
But worried about what? Sure, the data collection allowed by privacy policies had fueled commerce, but was there something more serious we were agreeing to? Total Information Awareness, a program initiated by the government in January of 2002. Its mission? To collect every digital transmission imaginable. And yes, this was their real symbol, the eye of the pyramid, scanning the Earth with a laser beam. It actually looks oddly similar to what's inside of Mark Zuckerberg's hoodie.
Making the world more open and connected.
Oh my God, it's like a secret cult.
Total Information Awareness was a program designed to connect the dots, to link banking activities, to flight searches, to online activities.
But the Pentagon is clearly moving to create the largest electronic eye ever to look at any and all Americans.
You're looking for trends and transactions that are associated with some potential terrorist act.
They believe that with enough data that they could predict who would be engaging in nefarious crimes.
The public was outraged. Congress was outraged. The program was shut down.
The lesson that the government learned after the failure of total information awareness was that if you're going to create a gigantic spying program, don't give it a creepy name.
There's nothing to prevent them from developing the same capabilities, just in smarter ways from their standpoint.
A wiretap requires a court order. Nothing has changed, by the way.
But in reality, lots had changed.
We were told one day in late 2002 that an NSA representative was coming to the office.
Mark Klein came to us at the Electronic Frontier Foundation with data and documents that showed that AT&T was engaged in a wiretapping program.
The NSA is much different from the CIA. First of all, it's about 3 times the size. It costs far more. It's tremendously more secret than the CIA. And what it does is very different. It's focused on eavesdropping, on tapping into major communications links.
They actually had a secret room in their facilities, and they were creating a copy of internet traffic and sending it to the NSA.
So in a sense, they are vacuuming up, scooping up
They are blindly vacuuming up everything going across those links.
And you're certain of that?
I'm certain of that.
So President Bush owned up to it.
I authorized the National Security Agency to intercept the international communications of people with known links to Al-Qaeda and related terrorist organizations.
It's taken less than 24 hours after the Bush presidency ended for a former analyst at the National Security Agency to come forward to reveal new allegations about how this nation was spied on by its own government.
The National Security Agency had access to all Americans' communications, faxes, phone calls, and their computer communications.
Is there a recording somewhere of every conversation I had with my little nephew in upstate New York? Is it like that?
It would be everything, yes. It would be everything.
But then a beacon of hope arrived in the White House.
Hi, Senator Obama. I appreciate your giving us the opportunity to ask you questions. I'm an attorney who represents federal whistleblowers, and I was very disappointed when I learned that you supported the bill that lets phone companies off the hook when they've helped the federal government without warrant wiretap phones.
I recognize that some people feel like, yeah, well, the phone companies still were complicit in this. They should be held accountable still. I understand that argument. But the problem was the surveillance program is actually one that I believe is necessary for our national security.
So they were immune, but that means that the programs are still shut down, right?
The programs are shut down?
Yeah, the wiretapping programs.
And I have no reason to believe that the wiretapping programs have been shut down. No, if the wiretapping programs had been shut down, then I don't believe that the government and AT&T would still be fighting in court for the legality of it.
So Barack Obama hasn't changed anything?
No, Barack Obama did not shut those programs down after he took office, even though he had threatened to before he became president.
When we got started just in my dorm room at Harvard, you know, the question that a lot of people asked was, why would I want to put any information on the internet at all? Like, why would I want to have a website? And people have really gotten comfortable not only sharing more information and different kinds, but more openly and with more people. And that social norm is just something that's evolved over time.
You may have seen the Onion take on Facebook, which was the CIA has just announced its most recent handy invention, Facebook.
According to Department of Homeland Security reports, Facebook has replaced almost every other CIA information gathering program since it was launched in 2004.
After years of secretly monitoring the public, we were astounded so many people would willingly publicize where they live, their religious and political views, an alphabetized list of all their friends' personal email addresses, phone numbers, hundreds of photos of themselves, and even status updates about what they were doing moment to moment. It is truly a dream come true for the CIA.
You know, the FBIs and the NSAs of the world are appreciative of the fact that Google and Facebook, you know, have built business models around collecting user data because it makes their jobs much easier.
That article in Time started with this anecdote. They're sitting in their transparent cubicle in their open space in Facebook. Robert Mueller was the one man in the room with a tie on, and he was older in a suit. And he comes in and he says, I was just in the building and I wanted to say hello to Mark Zuckerberg. So he says hello to Mark Zuckerberg, a little chit chat, and then he leaves. And everybody's saying, what the hell was that? Now, nobody asks the question, why was Mueller in the building? He's the head of the FBI.
On the one hand, Mark Zuckerberg has said he wants to create a more open society, and Facebook is a way to do that. On the other hand, you know, there's a lot about the way that Facebook uses information that people don't know.
If only there was a way of knowing how much information these companies were storing about us. Well, in the case of Facebook, we learned some pretty interesting things thanks to one student in Austria. And unlike the US, Europe has a law that requires a company to tell a customer what data they have stored on them, if that customer wants to know. And Facebook, unlike most major internet companies, had actually built a headquarters in Europe.
Apparently we were like the only 3 people that were like pushing hard enough and like asking again and again and again, and going through also the Irish authority to finally really get at least like a bigger part of our data set. We still didn't get everything right now. Got it right there, just to have like an idea how much it actually is. That's like just to picture it and to see how much it is.
Wow, this is more than a baby.
Yeah, that's 1,222 pages. I'm a member of Facebook for 3 years, but I was using it more intense for like the last 1.5 years or so. What's interesting as well is that I didn't post too much actually. Like I'm a person who posts something like once a week or so.
With this giant ream of information in front of me, is it hard to go through it and actually find specific details about a person?
No, that's super easy because it's I mean, we just used the search function in the PDF file. So you just type in one word, let's say a demonstration or sex or a political party or something, and within a second you find the right information. So within a couple of minutes you can figure out what people voted for, what, I don't know, psychological problems they have, what parties they've been to, All these informations are like really easy to find actually. While using that service for such a short time,